Hello and welcome to today's AMA. I'm your host, Robin Leonard. I'm the CEO and co-founder of AFDigital. Today, we've got a really exciting episode. I'm joined by my colleague, Paul Cheng, who is the Marketing Cloud Practice Director of AFDigital. Hello, Paul. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Robin. Thank you. Really excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, so the purpose of today's show, it's an AMA or an Ask Me Anything. We're going to be inviting you to add your questions to the comments on the live stream. If you're listening on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter, please submit your questions through and we'll pose them to Paul to answer live today. So really excited. We've already got a whole bunch of questions lined up from the audience. So we'll jump straight into it in a second. Firstly, Paul, I'd love it if you could give the audience an introduction of your background and career with Marketing Cloud.
Yes. So again, I've been working with Marketing Cloud for 13 years, actually, since October last month. My career started in Exact Target days. So I've been working with Exact Target, and then we got acquired by Salesforce, and then with AFDigital. So I've seen the product and progress a lot. But yeah, hopefully I can answer a lot of questions today about how best utilize Marketing Cloud.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Paul. It's the crowd is going to be really benefiting today from your sage advice. And as I've said many times, when I see Paul, we've worked together for many years, and I see Paul answer the same questions over and over again when he deals with clients. It's usually the same issues and questions that customers commonly face with Marketing Cloud. So today we're going to answer all of those for you. So let's get started. It would be great if, let me just get the first question up. So, all right, here it is. What is the best way to learn Marketing Cloud?
Wow, yeah. So the best way to learn Marketing Cloud, I think there's a lot of material online. There is a lot of YouTube videos. There is obviously as well the Salesforce trailheads that you can do. I think a lot of it, once you get that theory in place, is just the experience. There's a lot of people online that are there to support you in any way that they can and answer questions. As the community in Salesforce, the best way is also just getting the hands-on experience and really asking the questions. In my experience, I did a lot of listening to the customers, understanding their requirements, but also then working with people who understood or knew the product, and then really trying to deep dive into, I guess, what it is that Marketing Cloud can do and how can that benefit customers. So yeah, the best way is just to really get your hands in there and get involved and start testing things.
Great. Thank you, Paul. Awesome. All right, so time for our next question. Do I need a partner to implement Marketing Cloud?
Yeah, so I mean, I've worked with a lot of some customers who are actually self-implemented, and it can be done. There are a lot of materials that you can actually utilize. Working with a partner brings a lot of experience, and next, kind of like us, AFDigital, we can actually provide you with some really fast and quick wins to get the account set up very quickly, and really working in a way that you need it to. There are little things that Marketing Cloud need help with in order for it to work and align with both, if you have Salesforce CRM and the systems. So these are some of the things that your partner can help you and understand. Whereas what will happen if you self-implement, you start to discover these things and then things go wrong and then you try to fix it at that point. So working with a partner will really help you understand those things in the beginning so you don't come across them after while you may be doing a really crucial campaign or journey.
Great. And maybe, Paul, if I can just follow up with another question. What are the common issues you see if a client or a customer has implemented Marketing Cloud by themselves? What are the common issues you see fall out of that?
I think one of the biggest things is the unsubscribe. So, there's a default page on Marketing Cloud that, to be honest, I've been working on the platform with 13 years, and that default unsubscribe page hasn't changed. So, trying to building a custom is something that we offer to all our clients when we do Marketing Cloud. A lot of things is small things, like if you're using Email Studio to send your emails, the email address won't update if it's been changed in your Salesforce CRM. You need to consider all subscribers. That's really where things need to be updated. So just understanding that process is quite key to ensuring that you're sending to the right email address and you're honoring unsubscribes.
Great. So there's considerations, and it depends on what the source of that customer data is, right? So if you're integrating with Salesforce CRM versus a different CRM, maybe Microsoft Dynamics, can that kind of change things?
Yes, it can. Although, well, in some cases it's not, because, for example, the email address still needs to be updated in Email Studio. I mean, these things that I'm mentioning now, I would see slowly going away, only because Journey Builder now does a lot of that grunt work for you. But as you continue to use Email Studio, you still need to update certain things. But regardless of it being Salesforce CRM or Microsoft Dynamics or any other system that you're integrating Marketing Cloud into, you still need to know these kind of small things that sometimes it's not in any of the, help documentation.
And those small things, it's really like, where is the customer mastered, and if they unsubscribe, where does that have to go back to?
Yeah, I mean, like, essentially the unsubscribe, for example, sits in all subscribers, but it's not updating your master data extension if you have one set up that way, which means that you won't know how many people have unsubscribed. So realistically, you'd be sending to everyone and letting Marketing Cloud decide if they unsubscribed or not. So you don't have a true understanding of your database if you use the default and you're not running these other SQLs to update your master DE.
Great, thank you, Paul. So there is a bit to consider when you're self-implementing it, and it's really important to be aware of these considerations. So I think let's move on to the next question that we've got from the audience. Okay, here's a really great question. Can my digital agency implement and use Marketing Cloud?
So yeah, I mean, essentially, if your digital agency is aware of the things that I just discussed, then definitely they can implement it. We have a lot of customers that actually do have a digital agency that they have built in their emails. So they give them access to it, but only content access, so they can build the emails, which then restricts them from seeing any data. So you really have the security up tight, so that they can only actually build emails for you, and then you can actually start to have someone within the business to send the emails if that's the process you want to take, whether you don't want your digital agency to have access to your data. Ooh, I can't hear you, Robin.
Sorry, I was on mute. That's it. What access, and they try it. What can go wrong?
So you cut out a little bit. So I'm assuming the question's around if they give them access to the digital agency, what can go wrong?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, I mean, essentially, you're giving them access. If you give them full access, you give them access to all your data. One of the biggest things I've seen happen with a customer is that they've sent an email to all subscribers, and all subscribers in Marketing Cloud is everyone that actually sits in the whole database, in the whole system. And that could consist of, if you have multiple business units, can consist of data sets that don't particularly are part of the business unit that you're sending from, which means in that particular scenario, they sent emails to all brands from one brand, which made it made it very, very difficult, I guess, sending a new email to everyone saying we apologize for sending that email. but yeah, that's one of the biggest things that could go wrong. Obviously, sending out emails that you shouldn't be.
Great, thank you, Paul. I think I'm having some connection issues. Hopefully that'll correct itself. So let's move on to the next question. What is the best practice to integrate Salesforce CRM and Marketing Cloud?
I mean, marketing, Salesforce has a MC Connect connector, which allows you to integrate Salesforce CRM Marketing Cloud. So really, that's where you would want to start. What that allows you to do is utilize the native features that come with MC Connect into Salesforce CRM and to Marketing Cloud. You can synchronize your data by selecting the objects and synchronizing. Then you can actually have the data or your email metrics sent back to individual emails in Salesforce CRM. Another really thing, or another point that we definitely work with our customers is that with regards to what contacts you want in Marketing Cloud. So you typically would have in your database in CRM, you might have 100,000 contacts, but of that 100,000 contacts, you may only be able to email about 70,000 of them. So if you're only working with 70,000 customers, there's no point trying to bring 100,000 into Marketing Cloud. So one of the things that we do always suggest and recommend is to build a Boolean field on your CRM that will have a flow on the back of it to check that box if that particular contact or lead should be synchronized to Marketing Cloud. So that in my opinion, would be something that you should think about. Another thing is around utilizing whether you use a sync DEs or not. We tend to suggest to create master DEs from the sync DEs. And why we do this, because it allows us to remove any of those unsubscribes, and you can have an actual data extension. And I do use the word data extension a lot, which is a data table in Marketing Cloud of the people you can actually contact or send emails to. That would be where I would say is some best practice advice.
Great. Thank you, Paul. Awesome. All right. Well, we've got a lot of questions to get through, so I'm going to move to the next.
So, Robin, I don't know if that's your internet's going a bit funny there, but I don't know if the question was heard, but how do I integrate Marketing Cloud with other systems? So if we're talking about other systems other than Salesforce CRM, Marketing Cloud does allow for that to happen. What that means is a couple of ways, or a few ways now, but initially when I started with Exact Target, it was either through the Marketing Cloud SFTP. So when you get Marketing Cloud, they give you an SFTP. You can then have your data sitting there when you can build automations to pull the data in. The great thing with using the Marketing Cloud SFTP, you can actually use triggered automations, which means when the data is in there, the automation runs. Whereas in the past, what you had to do was set a time, and setting a time is okay, but it means if you're 1 minute late from putting that data in, then your automation fails and you have to go in there and actually run the automation manually. So the triggered automation works really well. The other way is via an API. So you can actually push data into Marketing Cloud using the API. And now, most recently, it allows you can push data through to Marketing Cloud from AWS, which allows it to pull data directly and no longer needing to push it to an SFTP.
Great. Thank you, Paul. I do have an internet issue, so I'm going to let you read out the questions. I'll just post them on the screen. All right. Let me just add one now.
Okay. A question from Robert Lopez, one of our customers and a fantastic advocate of Salesforce. Hi, Robert. In today's society, we hear about the importance of first-party data a lot. How critical is a first-party data strategy for any Salesforce CRM and Marketing Cloud implementation project? Great question. Thank you, Robert. So yeah, I mean, first-party data, I do get asked this question a lot. Essentially, as Google starts to remove the tracking cookies, we need to rely on first-party data a lot more. So having that first-party data strategy is key in ensuring you can still personalize your content. You know, a lot of times customers will create a preference page and want to gather information, and it's some in the past it was like, oh yeah, I've got all this stuff about them, but you know what, I'm not really going to use it. Now it's even more critical to keep to understand those preferences, and you know what, even not only just do it at the beginning, but continuously ask them to update. Because if you think about you or anyone, if something changes in my life, I don't go to my favorite brand and say, I better update my preferences because all of a sudden things have changed and I want to hear new things. So really understanding the importance of ensuring that you're making people come back to update and if certain things change. But another thing of your first party data is just observing or being able to track what they're clicking on and really running some, I guess you can even, what we've done in the past is run some SQL to classify those links that you can then start to personalize. And though they're not giving you explicit interest or understanding of what they want, you can now start looking at what they're clicking on your emails to start then personalizing those comms, and you can start collecting all this data of them to understand how you can then start, you know, targeting them and segmenting your data. Hope that answers your question a little bit. We've got a question here from how to build an email profile center. So yeah, so when you're using Marketing Cloud, you can use obviously Cloud Pages to build your email profile center. You know, Cloud Pages is great because you can actually use AmpScript. AmpScript, if no one's heard of it, is a proprietary language that ExactTarget actually created that allows you to do a lot of sophisticated and wonderful things within Marketing Cloud. For example, you can actually personalize content, look up the data extensions. You can bring in, you can loop it so that you can show what products they've purchased. But yeah, so building a profile center I would say you would need to understand AmpScript, and then be able to then either look at, if you're looking at just Marketing Cloud, making sure that AmpScript is updating the master DE and updating all subscribers, depending on if they want to opt out of all your email or not. And then, yeah, I mean, then there's the design level. So once you've got the code, just designing it. So really thinking about, as I said before, what information you really need and really making it easier for them to update. So some of the things that we tend to do is, you know, provide obviously the channels, the communications, and then we would suggest, you know, interests. The way to use interest is not a communication strategy, but you can actually gather these interests. So if anytime you have a certain, I guess, promotion or you want to get some content out based on the interest, you already have a predefined segment that you can utilize. What are the differences between Marketing Cloud engagement, ExactTarget, and Marketing Cloud engagements? Yeah, so when I first started, Marketing Cloud was ExactTarget and Pardot was Pardot. Now Marketing Cloud is the umbrella of everything, and the, you know, Marketing Cloud engagement sits under it, and then Marketing Cloud account engagement. The differences, I would say, you know, I think it's just two very different tools, and depending on your requirements and what you need. I think Marketing Cloud allows you, and when I was at ExactTarget, and that's Pardot was acquired when I was at ExactTarget. It was always very much, Pardot was considered more of a B2B tool, and then ExactTarget was considered more your B2C tool. And so there was the major differences between both of them. I think if you think about, you know, the buying behavior. So for example, ExactTarget, if you're looking at consumers, the buying behavior is much shorter. If you're looking at business, buying behavior might be a bit longer. I think these two tools in today, you shouldn't be defining that way. I mean, you could definitely use them in any way. I think one of the differences is that I know Pardot has, Pardot or account engagement has lead scoring inbuilt into the platform, which when you're looking at engagement in ExactTarget, you would need to look at either building something custom or working with a partner such as SalesWings that actually offers really great lead scoring into Marketing Cloud and your CRM. So I'd say, yeah, the differences there is how you're going to utilize it. Also the different channels, such as SMS is built in with the Marketing Cloud engagement, whereas account engagement doesn't have SMS. But again, then you use the third party. So realistically, it's what I've seen is some of my customers have migrated off Pardot, and because their business has started to scale and they've gone into engagement. So there's probably some of the things you want to think about. But I can't sit here and tell you whether to choose one or the other. I think it's really dependent on the situation of it. But yeah, one of the biggest differences I see is lead scoring. Also that account engagement sits within the Salesforce CRM, whereas Marketing Cloud engagement, you can actually use it solely on its own. How do I set up an abandoned cart email journey? So abandoned cart email journeys are really fantastic. I mean, I've been in this industry, as I said, 13 years, and we've been talking about it from there, that it should give you a 25% conversion rate. And we've worked with a customer. Actually, we've built a abandoned cart for them, and they actually saw about 23% conversion rate, which has been fantastic. But yeah, setting up an abandoned cart email journey really depends on whether you have that information ready available. You might have developers who can build the API that can push that to Marketing Cloud and then trigger that abandoned cart journey. But more recently, Personalisation, which is, if anyone's known it as Interaction Studio, is probably the best tool to utilize for the abandoned cart. The customer I was talking about, that's what they used, and it allows you to gather that information of who's abandoned their cart and trigger it straight into Marketing Cloud to send them an email within the time that you need. But yeah, I mean, abandoned carts would use Journey Builder. As I said, it really depends on you getting the data. And one of the biggest things to make sure you're checking is that they've actually abandoned and they haven't come back and actually bought the product, because probably don't want to be sending them an email after they've purchased it to say, hey, you abandoned your cart. Have you seen Personalisation Interaction Studio working well for clients? Yes, most definitely. As I said, mentioned one of our clients. Another one of our clients who's been doing really well. They've seen a 31% increase in their open rates with regards to being able to personalize from an email. But then when they get personalization in Interaction Studio, they've seen a 9% increase in the site, a 6% decrease in bounces. So, and 45% increase in website purchases or conversion rates. So yes, most definitely, it's been working well. I think today more than ever, as consumers, we are looking for that personalization. If you think about when you go to different sites, let's say I want to buy a TV, there's a few different companies you can go to, or websites, to look for a TV. And they're all fairly competitive with costs. It's experience that you get through that process is what brings you back to that site. So personalizing the site, as simple things as, I've gone to the site, I've looked at this TV, I've left the site, I've come back to the site, or maybe I've triggered an email to you, and I've come back to the site and the TV is on the front page for me, so I don't have to go searching for it. So realistically, yeah, personalization is something that I an advocate for, and I would love most people to really take that on board to ensure they're getting or personalizing people's sites or behavior. And then looking at, again, with the question about first party data, it's all good that you've brought them to your site, maybe through some Facebook advertising, things like that. But you really want them to give you their details. So a pop-up does work with regards to, before you leave, like intent to exit, why don't you give us your email address? I've seen a really good user story where I've actually provided some of my details, and then I was about to get an understanding of the cost, and then I was about to exit, and then they gave me a pop-up to say, would you like this email to you with all my details pre-filled out? And then I was able to just click a button and go, which allowed me to have that information saved for later. What is the best practice for managing unsubscribes in Marketing Cloud? So yeah, I mean, Marketing Cloud, I guess it depends on the system you're utilizing, Salesforce CRM. So if you're using Salesforce CRM, I mean, you should always consider where the source of truth lies. Yeah? The other aspects is, you know, where can they actually unsubscribe? Can they unsubscribe on your site? Do they have a portal that they can log into? Do they, or is it only they can only unsubscribe within your emails? I find that you know, ensuring that you're honoring those unsubscribes and you're updating in real time to any other systems is something that I always suggest and recommend, because you don't have this situation where you, like, it's probably a very rare situation that it would happen, but if I was to unsubscribe here in the email, and then I go to my portal, and then I thought, oh, I should probably stay subscribed, and then I subscribe, and then when I'm trying to align both data sets, I have to have a date to know, okay, which one do I honor? Do I honor the unsubscribe here, or do I honor the subscribe over here? So if you have the page working in real time that can actually call all the systems at the same time, it makes it easier for the whole process to work. And then essentially you're, I guess, emailing people that are unsubscribed. All right. What is the correct unique subscriber key to use in Marketing Cloud? Yeah, so subscriber key is essentially the unique identifier. That's what it's called in Marketing Cloud engagement. Essentially, in the past, a lot of customers used to use email address. I'm not a big advocate for using email address as your subscriber key. You know, today, I mean, you want to be able to identify that person wherever they come into your system. So giving them a unique identifier does help. It also means that when they want to change their email address, they can, and you're not limited to having to unsubscribe that other email address and then resubscribe them with a new email address, which means that you lose all their metrics data. That would be my suggestion on that. So a unique identifier. Feels kind of weird that I'm having a one-sided conversation. But do I need to set up a team to support a Marketing Cloud implementation? So my short answer, yes. If you want to get the best out of Marketing Cloud, you essentially would want to make sure you've got a team that is going to be able to continue to innovate and enhance what was delivered by your partner, such as AFDigital. What's all well and good for when we set you up at that point in time, that you can do everything that you need to. But if your team are not going to continue to build and innovate on it, then you get to a situation where you're just doing mundane tasks. Marketing Cloud offers a lot of great features. Journey Builder is one of them. There's a lot of activities on there that you can utilize to be able to really continue to have that one-to-one conversation with your customers and enhance their experience. So yeah, a team to support Marketing Cloud during the implementation is great, because they get to understand how it's been set up. They get trained on how they can potentially use the additional features. And then I would also suggest that you get a Marketing Cloud champion that will continue to work with the team and kind of be that, I guess, conduit between you and Salesforce support if required, to understand the platform, really push the boundaries of utilizing Marketing Cloud, and then be able to continue to build. How do we personalize emails for customers that don't have first name or data issues? So yes, you know, I've spoken about a lot of personalization. I mean, personalization in emails is also something that you should definitely consider. But yeah, I mean, I spoke about AMP before, and AMP is one of the things that it does allow you to write a bit of code in order to say, if first name does not exist, then add in, you know, hi there, or things like that. Yeah, so yeah, AMScript would use that. I mean, obviously, if you have any data issues, always get into the key. I think really looking at your preference page and sending that out to people to get them to update it at that point in time. But yeah, AMScript helps with personalizing your emails. There is also within us Marketing Cloud. A lot of people, I'm not sure whether you know this, but you can go into the content builder. There's some predefined personalization or AMP code that you can utilize out of the box. One of the ones that I tell a lot of my customers is proper case, which let's say your data is sitting with all uppercase. The little bit of snippet of AMP will actually just proper case everything for you. What certification should I get first for Marketing Cloud? Well, I guess you would need the email studio and then admin. Yeah, I'm not sure whether the email studio is going to stay. This is my opinion only. Email studio and admin, email specialist, sorry, and admin. To me, when I did them, were quite very similar. But yeah, those are the two before you would be able to then go for Marketing Cloud Consultant or the developer cert. I would say, you don't need to go for the developer if you're not a developer, but I still will feel in using Marketing Cloud, you do need to understand some of the development or developers coding that you can use, as I'm speaking about AMP. So yeah, that would be, I guess, the first one. What is the best practice around data extensions for segmentation and campaigns? Well, data extensions I spoke about before with regards to master DEs, ensuring that you're utilizing only the data you can send to. It actually helps with someone not sending to the wrong email address if they've unsubscribed, or things like that. So you can actually utilize, making sure you're utilizing other data you can communicate with. So building it through SQL to do that allows you to filter those data extensions, and then allows you to utilize the data for more segmenting. So if you're looking at segmenting, obviously you've got the standard segmentation of all the fields that you have, but also you can utilize measures, and measures allows you to utilize whether they've clicked on or not clicked on a particular link. I like to tell customers that to use the tracking alias. There are a couple of ways to use tracking alias, and tracking alias allows you to obviously get a friendly URL, a friendly name for your URL. So if someone clicks on that URL, you're not seeing this long URL when you're looking at reporting. It actually becomes a friendly name, so it's easy identifiable. But what you should think about is naming convention for all your URLs. If you think about it from a funnel top to be more specific, whereas let's say you might have product underscore or brand underscore product underscore location, for example, then you use measures, you can actually start to say, I want to look at anyone who's clicked on this product. So then you've got the top of the funnel, but then you can start to be more specific. Anyone who's clicked on this product, clicked on this particular brand and at this location. And that's where I was saying earlier, you can utilize more for more segmentation. You can start finding more about the person and start to find, because now you're utilizing what they're clicking on rather than what explicit information they're giving you. What are the different career paths for people that want to learn Marketing Cloud? Yeah, I mean, you can come work for a partner like AFDigital. So, working with various different clients, understanding all their different requirements. It's a great way to get your hands, I guess, dirty in a way, involved in different solutions all the time. It allows you to understand, gives you a breadth of Marketing Cloud. Then, for me, what I tell most of my team, you've obviously within that, you've got the career path of becoming a developer or becoming more strategic. So obviously the developer path is being highly technical, understanding API, AMP very well, being able to understand all the different integrations that you might take on, being able to consult and provide advisory on that, Then you've got the strategic and more of the functional, where you want to understand the system more and you want to look at be able to provide your customers with a lot more best practice and really give them that guidance, not only from a technical level, but also just being able to have them understand what they can get out of the platform, and then you can articulate what they actually need to be able to then give it to the developers. So yeah, that's what I'd say is the career path. But yeah, I mean, I've worked from doing implementations with Marketing Cloud to today I'm really happy to be the practice director here at AFDigital, and really being able to mentor the team and work with our customers as well, and still continue to provide advisory. What technical skills are required to operate Marketing Cloud? You depends if you're working with a partner. There's not really highly, and you need to be that highly technical. I mean, I would say if you do want to understand and get the most out of the platform, learning AMP learning SQL will one of the two big things. API is another one. But Salesforce are making these tools a lot more, much easier. There are other tools if you don't want to use SQL. We have partner DE Select that actually has a great tool that it's just drag and drop when you want to join two tables or two data extensions together. So, but yeah, from a technical point of view, AMP JavaScript. If you don't understand JavaScript, you better learn AMP. If you can learn some SQL, API, mobile SDKs, yeah, that should be enough for the technical skills that you'll need. How does Advertising Studio work? What are the benefits? Advertising Studio is a great tool, and I think there's been a name change as well. But and I can't remember. But Advertising Studio allows you to really be able to use your first party data to be able to communicate to them on their social networks. So you've got your data sitting in Salesforce Marketing Cloud or even Salesforce CRM that's integrated to Marketing Cloud. You then can segment that data, and then you can start pushing that data to your Facebook or LinkedIn. The benefits of being able to use Advertising Studio is that you're not needing to download the data or upload the data. You are utilizing your first party data. It's all encrypted when it gets to there. What I've seen with a lot of our customers is that they can now utilize their first party data, create an audience, send it to their Facebook Business Manager, for example, and have their digital agency pick up that data and then be able to create the campaigns and ads and start targeting. So it gives the customer and yourself a lot more, I want to say, it allows you to have more control over what data you send. Whereas I feel when you work with digital agency, they will just kind of target based on a criteria. So utilizing your first party data and then be able to use lookalikes is a great benefit. And then one of the biggest things that I always tell customers is using Advertising Studio in journeys, especially in your welcome journey. Someone's just signed up for your brand. They get the email that triggers out, and then they might go to the social site and they'll see an ad. That's just reinforcement. So it's a no-brainer for me to be able to create a welcome journey with Advertising Studio to be able to then be able to have that your brand reinforced in the two different channels. What is a super message and how do they work? Well, super message is obviously a Salesforce term on being able to utilize your email credits or sending out your emails, and that's been utilized with super messages. I'm not sure, a lot of people probably don't know, but super messages also are used for impressions on your cloud pages. And then until recently, super messages used to also include SMS, but I think that's now changed with you now get your SMS super messages. But yeah, I'd say that's just me on what I know about it. I mean, obviously Salesforce messages for every customer may be different. What is an SSL? Why are they important? I'm trying to think of what SSL stands for, but it's basically a secure security. If you think about when you go to websites and they've got a padlock, that's something that's secure. So in Marketing Cloud, you should also get SSL certificates, which allows your landing pages to be secure, your URLs to be secure, and your images to be secure. It's very important. For example, why it's more and more important today is Google actually released an update that if your pages aren't secure, some of your images will not be displayed. So, when it first came out, a lot of customers were seeing that their images weren't being displayed on the pages when you opened your landing pages or emails on Google browsers. So that is very important, but it also gives a sense of, I guess, security to the reader that, they are coming from a secure website, or the brand is actually secure. So I think that's why it's very important. And today it's actually very quick to set up, whereas in the past it took quite a long time. What is your advice to somebody that is a non-technical marketer that wants to start a career in Marketing Cloud? Yeah, I mean, actually, I've been speaking to a person who did a career shift into Salesforce, and they were not technical at all. But yeah, I would say Marketing Cloud, as I said earlier, can be technical if you want it to be, and it doesn't need to be. In all honesty, I am more of a technical enthusiast rather than a technical developer. So I'm not one to be writing code, but I can understand it and translate it. So as long as you can understand it, you understand what you need developed, then, I don't see any reason why you can't make a great career in Marketing Cloud. I would say just to understand the built-in features of Marketing Cloud. Today, more than ever, Salesforce are creating the platform, so it's actually much easier to use than ever used to be. As I said, when I started ExactTarget, we used to build everything custom, and it was highly coded. If you wanted to change it, like, I need a developer to make this small change. Now it's less and less. I mean, I'm very much a person who likes to make sure when we do build anything or implement, custom is the very last option. How can we do it with the platform? How can we do minimal custom and then full custom? But yeah, I would say, go on the trailheads, understand that, today more than ever, companies are now hiring people who know Marketing Cloud. So even if you were to start your career in looking at building emails, HTML, understanding it, but not necessarily needing to build code from emails from HTML. So there's plenty of ways to build your emails in Marketing Cloud without needing to know code. And start to understand the processes and really start to understand best practice. I would suggest. What do I do if my emails have low deliverability? Okay, great question. So deliverability is obviously a really big point in ensuring, you're getting your emails out. I've worked with a lot of customers with deliverability. You should do a number of things. So if you are noticing you're getting low deliverability, I would say to get it confirmed by running a report in Marketing Cloud. There's a report called Email Sent by Domains, I believe it's called. Essentially, it gives you a report to show you the opens and clicks by each of the different domains. So then you can see which ones may be potentially being flagged as a low deliverability. Contact Salesforce. They should be able to check if there's anything happening. And then really look at whether you're on a dedicated IP or a shared IP. If you're on dedicated IP, you might want to, with the particular domain, if it's, for example, the ISP is Hotmail, that you're seeing some low deliverability, you might want to get all your Hotmail email addresses. And I know that's the old Hotmail's ancient, but and do a warm-up strategy. we do a lot of warm-up strategies in the beginning. What that means, if you've got a dedicated IP, you need to make sure you're letting the ISP knows that you're gradually going to be sending emails, so they can then track the opens and clicks, and then they can see whether you're a reputable sender or not. If you are, then essentially they will let your emails go through to potentially the inbox. I'm never going to say you're guaranteed, because it depends on a lot of factors, which nobody ever knows, because if anyone knows that secret, then they'll be able to get your emails and 100%. But yeah, so I would say contact Salesforce. There is a reputation report that Salesforce can create for you, but essentially you just need to get an email, send it to a particular email address that they have, and they'll send you out a report, and that will give you your sender score. There are other tools, like Gmail has some postmaster tools that you can sign up to that can also assist. We've gone over our contact limits in Marketing Cloud. What should we do? A very, very familiar question, and it's asked a lot by a lot of our customers. Contact limits in Marketing Cloud is essentially your contacts that you synchronize into Marketing Cloud. And I think everyone will hit this over at one point in their time of utilizing Marketing Cloud. And this is when I spoke about earlier that we suggest you create a Boolean field to make sure you're only synchronizing the data that you want to be targeting. And that Boolean field is forever changing. It's not something that's static. As I said, you might have a flow in Salesforce CRM that will update that to ensure that you're only sending the data you want. But what that means is that your contacts that were no longer synchronizing are still sitting in Marketing Cloud. So they don't just automatically just get deleted because you stop synchronizing them. They still sit there. You just don't target them because your master DE now they've been removed, but they sit in all subscribers or all contacts. So what needs to happen there is you need to, if you hit your contact limits, which Salesforce might say, hey, you purchased 100,000, now we're seeing you're at 150,000, it would be great because obviously you're showing growth and that's what you want. Yeah, but you want to make sure you're still targeting the customers that you want. One of my things I would suggest you do is before you go deleting any contacts is to make sure you might want to suggest we'll do a journey that re-engages these people that have been engaged. So really thinking about, who do I want to delete? Is it people that have been unsubscribed and they've been sitting in Marketing Cloud maybe for 2 to 3 years? Maybe those, you can't retarget them. So those are probably good way to start to remove them from Marketing Cloud. But yeah, doing a contact delete is what you should do. And we can certainly assist with, some of the requirements on what you should keep or what you can delete. How do we contact you? AFDigital, get advice on our Marketing Cloud. To get advice on your Marketing Cloud. Yeah, so I mean, you can contact myself, Paul Chang. I'm on LinkedIn, or you can come to our AFDigital website in order to get some more. There's a contact us page. Yeah, we very much work on advisory and build and development. So yeah, we can provide a lot of advice. We do health checks with a lot of our customers. A health check is definitely recommended, if not once a year, maybe even more, but essentially it allows you to check whether your system's still got the foundation you need and everything's still working the way you intended. But yeah, contact AFDigital through our website. Look me up in LinkedIn. Sounds like things like that's the last questions.
Thank you, Paul. Please wrap up.
I hope everyone's gotten some great information there, and I'm love for people to reach out to me if you have any questions, want to have a chat about how AFDigital can help you. We've got a great team of consultants that work with a lot of our customers on various solutions. So thank you for your time, and I look forward to maybe speaking to you guys. We